There is a manner in which women are attracted to people who manifest dark triad traits. There's some mystery about why women seem to be attracted to these so-called dark triad traits, and I would say that they're using them as insufficient markers for the ability to, or the acquisition of status. So, narcissists capitalize on that, right? Because a narcissist looks confident, and lots of confident people are competent. You see this sort of thing. I like the Disney movie Beauty and the Beast. Yeah, I think they got it right. And so there's Gasta in that movie, a narcissist. But he has physical prowess. He can't understand why he's not the guy, but he's narcissistic. And then there's the Beast who's a beast, but he's tameable. So he can be a benefit conferred and he can inflict cost. It's not that easy to distinguish the willingness to use casual power and control from competence when you're not very experienced. And so the dark triad types can feign status-related competence, and they can ensnare naive women. The dark triad is most associated with low agreeableness, and that's why I do think that research psychologists and psychologists in general have a kind of ethical bias about the agreeable dimension. Because if you're more compassionate, more empathic, you're gonna feel the hunger of other people and you'd be more motivated to care for them, let's say. Yeah, but it's also possible that that low agreeableness has something to do with, well, perhaps hunting prowess. That might be part of it. And so women are in a conundrum with agreeableness, right? Because they need a mate who's agreeable enough so they can bond with them, and that will care for their children and it cares in general. But they need someone disagreeable enough so that they're capable, let's say, of dealing with free riders. Do you know? And part of what constraints is agreeableness, let's say, from a temperamental perspective. So if you're low in agreeableness, let's say, well, you're less empathic, you're more competitive, rougher, blunter, tougher. What would you say? At least with regard to the compassion you show to others. Yeah, well, it also looks like they value themselves greatly. And you know, sometimes people value themselves greatly. And so they have high mate desirability in your terminology, or maybe some little corruption of your terminology. And again, I think the dark triad guys mimic. It's like, I'm so good. I can afford to, distribute my sexual prowess wherever I see fit. And there's some of that happens as men rise in competence hierarchies as well. Well, yes, it happens with women when they rise in their hierarchy. What helps modulate that? Well, some of that would be conscientiousness. And so in the dark triad types, you see low conscientiousness as well. Low agreeable, highly conscientious types are quite interesting because you can trust them because they'll do their duty. But they're very blunt and direct and harsh, and that can be helpful as well because they'll tell you unpleasant truths even if they hurt your feeling. So there's some utility in that. So you can imagine that agreeableness can be modified, let's say by conscientiousness. So that takes the psychopathy edge off it because of low agreeableness and low conscientiousness. That's a rough combination because nothing is constraining it. So women are attracted to some degree to the lower agreeable types, and I think that accounts for the bad boy paradox that you described, at least in part. And maybe it takes further experience and wisdom on the part of judicious women to see where they can get the disagreeableness that's necessary. But it has to be hammed in by something like, well, conscientiousness, right?